All right. So I guess we could kind of get into things. Admittedly do not know a lot about you guys. I recently actually just became a fan of you, which we'll get into that. But I like to kind of start these out with a little bit of an origin story. You don't have to go too far back, but I'm wondering, how did the band come to be? Like, when did it form? Are you guys the original three members?
Yeah.
I want to know it all.
Well, officially in 2019, there was some time a few years prior where we were all kind of meeting each other unsuspectingly. I had a project that I was playing guitar in when I first moved up here. That's how I met our drummer. And then shortly after, I met Beepus through his ex, and then I ended up poaching him, and he's now my boyfriend. And we went to, we used to throw shows at this place called Winston House. It's a venue in Venice now, but it used to be a 3-story house where we would do like really, really cool private shows of like 100 people, 150 cap max, but it would be like anywhere from Bieber to Billie Eilish to Ed Sheeran to you name it in our living room. And I used to co-produce events with them, and that's how I met Bardo, was at one of those events. And so after that, we got in the studio, and the rest is history. We had this energy, we saw what was up. We kind of took a little bit of finessing to get everybody on board, because like obviously the idea of a band I think is a bit scary to most people. So that was the birth. We essentially got in the studio, had one good session. We were like, all right, this is pretty fucking cool. We've stuck to it since.
All right, sweet. And what year was this when Beauty School Dropout officially formed?
2019.
2019. Okay, so right before the pandemic. So then what was that like? Did you have, so 2019, you're probably excited, you found your bandmates, have a good session, and then, yeah, what was that like when the pandemic hit?
We were gearing up to go play South by Southwest as our first show ever.
Oh, man.
And obviously it shut down. We were like, cool. And then we didn't really know what was happening, and then everything shut down. And we're like, all right, well, no shows. Let's figure out how to be a band on the internet. And so we were just writing a lot, figuring out how to do social media, because the rise of TikTok, everything was happening. We were like, what is our lane? Who do we want to be? It was honestly a blessing. It like allowed us to really dial in our image, who we want to be. It kind of like expedited what I feel like takes most bands like 5 years to figure out. We were able to do it in like a year because there was no obligations. There was nothing to do except for this. And
right.
That way, when 2021 hit May, we decided to throw a show. And that was like before we were technically supposed to have large gatherings. And kids were just
right.
to rage. We did it at a vintage shop, our friend's vintage shop called Haven House. They removed all the clothes from the bottom floor, and we just literally threw down like an old punk show, flooded the place with alcohol. Literally, when you walked into the dressing rooms, there was like an inch of beer on the floor. It was,
oh, man.
It was so rock and roll, and we just kept throwing parties all over LA, in clubs and wherever we could play. And we would just make, everything was free because we just wanted to have parties.
That's the way to do it, man.
It had to be a cool experience for your first shows. They're probably pretty high energy with everybody kind of pent up.
Crazy, honestly.
Not being able to go to shows and stuff like that. So
it was like what felt like the rise of rock again.
Sure.
The rock gods.
Rock gods. But yeah, it was so cool to like watch kids like mosh and just like crowd surf in these like not even 300 cap rooms, but we were fitting like 300, 400, 500 people in these like tiny spaces, and like definitely not legal, but sick.
Yeah, so what was that like? So, you know, like John said, everybody's been pent up. They just want to get out. People were missing going to shows. People were still kind of scared to go out because at that time, 2021, you're still a little, I think we had enough information at that time, but still maybe unsure what's going on. But I wonder if you could like almost read the room, see the looks on the faces. Did they just let everything go, just kind of forget about all the noise outside that venue and just let loose?
It was awesome. No one cared one bit.
It was so unhinged, and it was actually low-key like we would get a few text messages post the show like, oh, I got COVID, and we think it's from getting at your show. But I mean, that was like the nature of it. Like, I think the scaredness of it had vanished a little bit.
Sure.
Especially from like
Yep.
kids our age, everyone was just like ready to like get out
Right.
and play.
Yeah, I got COVID at the first show I went to too. So I mean, it's
We've all had it several times. It's just the nature of
Yep.
playing shows.
So-
shows.
So then, okay, so you guys are hitting it hard in 2021. You're playing wherever you could go, really DIY. How do you guys go about getting discovered then? So you guys are currently signed to VerseWire, right? Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. Were you signed to a label before this one, or were they the first ones?
They were the first label.
We did a distro deal.
Yeah.
With like label services with our friends.
Okay.
Yeah, at version 3, V3, they're really dope. Ben and Josh over there found us. That was technically our first project, Boys Do Cry. It was an EP. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a stepping stone to what we needed to be. And they believed in us early on, and they helped us in a lot of ways with the love we needed to see from like different playlists, editors, and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like, first industry looks, but that led to us meeting Sherry Saeedi, who.
Okay. At VerseWire. So for people that don't know, I'm actually fascinated with this label in particular. I don't know how widely known it is. I saw press releases when they first came out. But I do want to share for the people that are listening, it is run by a few people, two people you definitely have heard of, Mark Hoppus of blink-182 and Fall Out Boy's Pete Wentz. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but the main idea here is they want to treat its artists like entrepreneurs in a way, right? So like...
they kind of made a comparison to Shark Tank, which I think...
Yeah.
It's like a venture capitalist firm with label services.
Yeah,
That's
Exactly. They basically do everything a label does, but you guys, one of the main things that I like about this is you own the masters or most of your masters. They'll help with development. They'll help with funding of projects and merch, it seems like, that sort of thing. And like John said, it is kind of like a Shark Tank style of investing in an artist.
Well, it seems like they do all the good things that a label should do and not any of the other stuff that goes on that they shouldn't be doing.
And it's cool for us because basically how they pitched it to us was, why not have the A&R for a project? For those who don't know what an A&R is, the listeners, an A&R is the person who basically is in charge of deciding on the creative aspects of a band, or like assisting with the creative aspects. So a typical A&R label is the one responsible for saying, hey, okay, we want to get you want to get a different feature on this song, I'm going to send it to these people, or hey, you should work with this producer, or whatever. So their concept is, okay, if you have a rock band, why don't you make another rock artist the A&R, someone who's done these things. And so, for example, Mark Hoppus is technically our A&R at the label, which is great to have the guidance of someone who's been through the exact situations we've been in. So in these weird, fork in the road moments, we can call up Mark and say, what do we do about this? And he can give us his genuine advice. So that's been pretty cool. And also the fact that we're the first artist they signed, we kind of have all the attention right now.
Yeah, that's what's really rad. Not only being the first, but being able to work with Mark frickin' Hoppus. I mean, that's got to be insane.
So his middle name?
Frickin', it is actually. A lot of people don't know that. I bet Beauty School Dropout didn't even know that. So you guys got signed to them. How did they discover you though? Like, did you hear about the opportunity? Did you know somebody that introduced you?
Coley and I were at dinner with our manager, Nick, who has known Sherry for some years. Because Sherry has been a music manager for many years. And she created her first company called Veeps with the Madden brothers from Good Charlotte. And Veeps
nice.
Got bought by Live Nation. It started as a VIP ticketing company, and then evolved into like live stream concerts and stuff like that. So now that's in the Live Nation family. And for her next venture, she's like, I want to do labels. That was when she was early days figuring this out. Mark wanted to be a part of it. Pete wanted to be a part of it. We met her randomly at this bar in LA called The Nice Guy. And Chloe and I were at dinner. And when that happened, Nick was like I think thinking ahead, like, all right, this could be something cool. But originally, got the pitch from Sherry, and she's like, gave me the same pitch we just gave you. And originally I was like, what are you even talking about? Is this real? Like this? Because everyone in LA has like the pitch, you know what I mean? But it's like everything after the idea that actually matters. So And then later on, she followed up. She's like, "Hey, I actually want to like talk to you guys more about this." And then we all met with her and went to get coffee. And then she's like, "Well, I have Mark and Pete involved." And it's like, okay, well, we call bullshit. And then sure enough, a week later, we're at lunch with Mark and Pete, and we're like, okay,
wow,
you are legit. So it's kind of like one of those situations. But and also, I think we believed in Sherry's like tenacity and just the whole. They're all just like, we want to do this, and we believe in you guys. And so we're like, cool, this is great. And we've said no to a lot of deals before, so this was finally us saying yes.
And so, what was it about this label that the other labels didn't have that made you say yes?
I think it was something different. It was something that, like, actually an artist-friendly deal, and it was something that it was the first of its kind, which was exciting to us because it means it was either going to work or fail, but people were going to put in a lot of effort to make it work, and we wanted to be at the rewarding end of that effort, you know. And I think it just the team players, the cosigns, and it's just like the experience. Like, it's hard to like quantify like a price tag on like having the guidance from people like Mark and Pete, you know, being able to ask them advice on something. It's pretty cool.
I couldn't imagine any two greater people to have in your corner, you know what I mean, when it comes to the scene that you guys are in.
It's very cool. It's definitely like a pinch yourself moment every time they're like, we have a group chat with both of them, and like I'm just like, how many people on earth are in a group chat with Mark Hoppus and Pete Wentz and us? Like, that's like, it's crazy.
Not many. Not many at all. So speaking of Mark Hoppus, I mean, you guys kicked off one of the most massive pop punk tours, opening up for Blink-182 this year. You did that for a couple weeks. How'd those shows go for you?
Amazing. Super fun.
I mean, it had to be absolutely wild.
It's different, for sure. I think wild in terms of the fact that it's just like the optics of it. It's like, yeah, you're on tour with Blink. Of course that's fucking wild. But I think,
right,
contrary to popular belief, it was actually like pretty chill. There's a lot of moving parts. They have to run a tight ship, therefore we just get thrown into it. So like the actual production of it all was pretty mellow for us. Like I'd say there's actually a lot less pressure than like most of the club shows that we've played. Some I said,
sure,
like it almost felt more comfortable going on stage.
That's like a lot of the logistical stuff is taken care of, so you're just kind of
totally. And it's super weird because you can't, I mean, we're first of three, right, indoors, so it's like you don't see past the first like 200 feet out. So I mean, we see maybe most 500 to 1,000 people in front of us, but unless everyone has their phone lights on or like the arena lights are on, you're pretty much looking out into an abyss.
Hilariously, it kind of felt like a club show with a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Because you really can't tell that there's 10, 15, 20,000 people behind the first row. Unless you're like really looking out or like looking behind you and you realize that there's 10 stories up, basically, that you're like, oh my God.
But then you watch Blink play and you're like, oh fuck, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. When you're out there, the scale really like makes more sense.
I feel like I'd just be watching myself on the video screen and kind of judging myself the whole time. Like,
yeah. They actually didn't use the video screens for us. We requested they put our name up there instead, which is
that's
nice.
Not a bad idea. That's good.
Yeah. It actually worked out.
Name recognition.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that.
Oh, yeah, we kept seeing people video us and then zoom into our name on the projected stuff, and I'm like, that's perfect.
Some good advertising.
Yeah, that was a good marketing idea there. So what was it like when you actually got the call then? Like, hey, we want you to open. I'm sure maybe Mark just texted you or whatever.
Oh no, this is messed
boys, you got to open up for us.
No, they got us. They tricked us.
We were duped.
We were on,
good.
Right.
We were on tour with Jaden, and we were like figuring out our next phase of what we wanted to do. So we had a team meeting with Mark and our management and our label and everyone, and it went amazing. Like, it was an amazing meeting. Mark post meeting was like, thank you guys so much. This really like sets us up to help you more. Like, it was like so positive. And then like 3 hours goes by and our manager walks back into our RV and he's like, what did you guys say to Mark? He's so pissed. And we're like, what? He's like, he wants to drop you guys or something so messed up.
Yeah. And he's like, you guys are hopping on the label. There's a Zoom call waiting for you right now.
With the label. And we're like so bummed. We just had like the best day ever. We were like barbecuing outside and playing pickleball And like we
It
had
was like
an
the
opt-in.
first sunny day after spending a month in snow too.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck yeah, cool.
This is awesome. And then we hop on the Zoom, and they're also yelling at us, and they're like mad, and we're like stressing out, and they're like, Mark is so mad because you guys are going on tour with Blink. And we're like, what? And it was just like
the video of us losing our shit too. We just like started screaming and crying. It was like,
and at first I thought they were talking about like one show. I thought they were saying you're just gonna play like one show with them, and then
Which is still rad.
yeah.
which would still be insane.
Totally.
Like, and then they start listing off all the shows, and then they're like, Madison Square Garden. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, every single time I would talk to someone about us getting signed or whatever, they would be like, oh my God, are you guys going to tour with Blink? And I just didn't think we were big enough. I'd be like, nah, we're not there yet. We still have a lot more growing to do. You know, and I just didn't, I was like, that was fine. I just didn't think we were there yet. And sure enough, they were like, you guys are ready. And so it was amazing, an insane opportunity that I just feel immensely grateful for.
Just to add to
absolutely.
One of our favorite bands too. So to get Turnstile and Blink on one tour,
Yeah.
and us being
Sure.
the band
It was pretty insane.
surreal.
Turnstile gave me COVID, so
Hell yeah.
that was
Awesome.
my first show post-pandemic. I mean, they didn't do, it wasn't them specifically, but somebody at the show probably.
classic, of course.
I got it from somebody's sweaty body probably. Just got
Turnstile COVID is
sweaty
the
down there at a Turnstile show.
Yeah, that's the best strain.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there is only a select few bands who could say that they've toured with Blink, and you guys are on that list now, man. Like that's insane.
Thank you. Yeah,
So it's going to be hard to top that. It really is. Like, what other bands of that stature in same music style? It's like Green Day, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go on
Guys
tour
are-
with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That would
That'd
be
be fun,
nice. That would be nice.
We,
That'd be dope.
we actually did just get to open for Sum 41 while we were in the Czech Republic.
That was cool.
That was also
nice.
Yes.
And then 2 days ago, we also did Matchbox 20. So that was also a highlight for us. So it's kind of like this, we're on this
Hi.
like opening streak of just like, all right, yeehaw.
The world's best opener.
Yeah, hey, continue it, man. Don't
Maybe.
don't knock it. Keep it going.
Can you
I
tell
mean,
Rob Thomas to start aging at some point? That would be good
He
I
really looks
cannot
so
for the
young.
rest of us.
so weird. It is crazy. His kid is the same age as us, and then he looks like literally not that much older than
It's
us. Like Rob
crazy.
looks like he's literally 29.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe Santana gave him something, or some sort of anti-aging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Santana also looks crazy good.
That's smooth.
Yeah, see?
Smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody on that record's probably just never going to age.
Yeah, they found the
It's the
whole
Fountain of Youth record.
yeah.
I need that.
Maybe they joined the Illuminati.
Any way you guys can help us go on tour with Rob Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are Carlos and Santana.
Yeah.
There.
This is Carlos. This is Santana.
Yes. So I'm sure it was never a dull moment on the Blink tour. Can you name anything that was kind of crazy, or maybe anything that was memorable? Memorable. Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you. That's the only reason you're here.
I had a
Anything that you could share?
Yeah, I had a pinch me moment. I was walking by Mark's green room, and his wife Sky was like, "Beavis, come in, hang out." And I was like, "Yes, of course." So I come in, and
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am. Like, it's Mark, Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots, his wife Debbie Ryan, which I like, obviously am stoked to just be in that room with people. And then we're all just shooting the shit, and then Tom walks in, and I'm just like, "This is crazy." And then Tom and Mark break off. They bring Josh over, and they're like, "Beavis, come over here with us, the boys' corner." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be part of the boys." And it was just 45 minutes of just hanging out and just talking about the bands that like influenced them, and like they were talking about like Fugazi and like all these things from the scene, and like skaters that they loved, and like just everything. And it was just like so surreal. And I literally left that moment and went running back to our green room like I had just, I don't even know.
It's like a bat out of hell.
Yeah, literally, it was insane, like the amount of like adrenaline that moment gave me, because like 10-year-old me would like write you.
Yeah. Well, you
that
feel
was-
like if you don't tell somebody about it right away, you're not going to remember it.
yeah, right. I had to go tell them all. Like, you guys aren't gonna believe what just happened. It was the coolest.
So was this like first night of tour, or?
It was like,
That was a good tour.
yeah, this was in Cleveland.
Oh,
Okay.
I think there was also a great moment where our friend and photographer Juan
Yeah, we're gonna tell us
busted the splits in front of Travis Barker, and it was one of the most insane sequences I've ever watched.
To add to that, we had Travis come out of his green room with his security. Like his security got him to come out and for us to like say what up and thank you for having us. And then we're like, hit it, Juan.
And Juan, he's this very, very short, little beautiful Mexican boy who is an insane photographer. And just imagine this little kid who just like is just excited about life, busting the splits in front of Travis Barker, only to receive the face of Travis Barker going, wow. and then he's like, oh no, I need to do something. So he starts twerking a little bit on the ground in full splits. And then,
I thought you were talking about Travis. I was like, that.
No. And then Travis just goes, wow.
Impressive.
That's crazy. And then, like, it was like the most like, oh my God. And then all the security guards around him are just dying laughing. At this point, Juan has like honed me down with all the security. Like Juan was the star of this entire tour, let's be real. Like everyone backstage loved him. And it was so funny, and like there's like the security just like they were just like, you have to do this.
One of them was like secretly filming it too, just to get like a reaction.
Oh yes, that needs to make it to TikTok. But does that like? Because I feel like for me, if I'm trying to impress Travis Barker and I'm doing the splits and twerking, and he's just looking at me like that, I feel like that's gonna eat me up inside for the rest of my life. Like I screwed that moment.
No. I think it was. I think Travis loved it. Honestly, I think it was. You could tell he was like inside. He's very like chilled.
Okay.
So low key.
Yeah, he doesn't really give off too much emotion.
I couldn't really imagine him applauding anything.
No, but like you could tell inside he was smirking. He was like, that was fucking sick. Like he's cool. He's a cool dude. He really does care. Like he knows. Like Phoebus and I, we had met Travis a couple times previously to that. We actually all had met kind of like through the LA scene or whatever, and like,
Sure.
and I work with Jaden on. I had a song that I co-produced with Travis for Jaden's record, so he was like kind of like aware of everything and like sending files, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was like he definitely knows who we are, and he's like came out of his way multiple times on the tour to come say what up. But it was just like the rest of us who hadn't met him. But he's just such an interesting character because he's like so cool, because he's like so like he's just so low key about everything. He's just like this tatted up dude who's just so good at what he does and very quiet about it, which is like intimidating as ever, you know. So it was pretty
absolutely
that Juan did that.
It's a small world. We have somebody that we went to grade school with that did video for the tour.
Oh really?
Oh, cool.
What was it?
Oh yeah.
Dave Bergfeld.
So he would have been one of the crew guys working
he's on
on the video screens, most likely.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gotcha.
We probably ran into.
Yeah, we probably saw him multiple times.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure you did. I think this is his second time working with Blink, isn't it, John?
I think he did. If they toured with Lil Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
I think it was that tour.
Crazy.
That's it. I think Lil Wayne only played like 2 shows or something. He was like canceling, I thought.
Wow.
That sounds like him, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like a shit show on
Did Lil Wayne
that
open?
part.
Yeah.
I think
crazy.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So after being exposed to, Blink's music and live performance, night after night for that 2-week run that you guys were on, is there anything that you learned that you may not have known prior?
I feel like we're always learning from bands that we watch, like constantly. We're always learning and taking down notes, and also like what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
Blink in particular, their crowd engagement and just like the easefulness they put between songs, like just, I mean, every band's different, obviously. Some bands are really good at this, some bands aren't, but just the way Blink is so good at talking to their crowd, and it's like you almost like are excited for them to stop playing so you can hear what the next.
I know what you mean.
And it was funny to watch every single night them do the whole thing, and like these jokes that they would start in the beginning of tour would just evolve into the like 14 shows in, and then it's like you've literally been like evolving this joke on stage with each
It's
other.
like stand up. They've been working on their material the whole time, crafting it.
So that was a huge one for us, trying to practice getting better at like banter and stuff like that. Turnstile is just the coolest thing ever, so we're trying to always be cool like Turnstile.
Never a bad idea.
They're effortlessly cool. It was dope. I don't know, what else did we learn?
Just like how to run a tighter ship, and like as we bring more people into our world, because their crew is so massive, and it's just cool to see how it's literally like a ship and there's like the captain and then the crew and like then there's Blink, and like it's eye-opening to see how something like that, which is so massive, runs so perfectly.
Yeah.
And like even for us, like it was just so easy. Like we literally just showed up, ate catering, walked out on stage when it was time to go sound check for 30 minutes, and then wait again, just hang out. It was just the experience was so seamless that like I just can't wait to do that, and then also be able to put on bands the same way that they have. Like they curated all the openers on the lineup, and like it's just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, when you get that kind of experience, I mean, I don't think I'd ever want to stop being a professional opening band.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think for us, we had that experience where like we want to headline this shit now.
Yeah,
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, that's always the goal, right?
Yeah.
Definitely excited to like pass the torch too and have that full circle moment of like, obviously a long way in the future, but to be able to like be the curators of the scene in the future generations of rock.
Yeah, and kind of give back and help out those little bands just getting their start too.
Yeah. I mean, because Blink was where we were one day, or a while ago.
Exactly.
So it's like they've been through the shit, you know. They had to do vans, they had to fucking share hotel rooms, and it's like now they're in a whole different level, you know. But it's like there's like a level of respect there, and
Absolutely.
I'm like,
and the fact that they haven't lost out on that, they don't forget where they come from.
Oh hell
You know,
no.
you got Mark, who
They're still punk.
is your A&R guy, so
They're still punk as fuck. They're about it, you know. They definitely
Right.
know what's up.
And just to add, this is Mark's first venture with a label. He's been approached countless times to do it, and he's always turned it down because it was never something that he wanted to do. A, because it just wasn't something usually artist friendly, even though people would.
gotcha. He didn't believe in it.
He just didn't ever think that it was something that he wanted to get involved in, and then now he's involved in this one because it actually is artist friendly, and like he gets to put us first throughout the business side of it too.
Yeah, that's absolutely rad. So let's talk about the new single that's coming out. Now, this episode's going to drop around the time that single comes out. If I'm being completely honest, now, I had heard you guys before. Your music has always kind of stood out to me, but it's like there's so many bands to just like really dive into somebody's catalog and that sort of thing. But your music has always been sort of intriguing to me. But it wasn't until I saw or heard Dying to Be You. All right, and I sent this to John immediately when I heard it. I think I heard it like a month. It was like in June. I think the song came out in May or something like that. But I heard it and I was like, this is absolutely what I love. I love this, and I hope, like, I want to hear this sound. And I got excited about the song, and I don't get that excited about certain songs or certain bands often, and I don't even know what it is, but it's maybe it's just something with the production, the melody, just like pretty much everything. But usually the production value like really hits. Something in there makes me feel something.
I think it just checks a lot of boxes.
It does. It really does.
Love it. That's an excellent review.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a solid Yelp right there.
I don't even know if we did review it for the podcast, but we should have if we did. Oh, we probably didn't because I found it too late. But it did get me excited, and I had it on repeat for a couple days. And I will say this is when I became a fan, and I started kind of getting excited and whatnot. But when I got the advance of the new song, Beautiful Waste, like clearly you guys are on the right path, because Dying to Be You was great. Beautiful Waste is just as great. Like, I feel like this song...
Huh?
What's that?
Two very different worlds. Beautiful Waste.
Two very different worlds, but very great in their own rights. And I really feel like this has the potential to be a hit on alternative radio. Like, I truly, truly mean that. And it really does get me excited to hear what else you guys have, what you're cooking up. So can we talk about the song Beautiful Waste, how it came about? Tell us all the things. We're just going to pretend that this song is out now, so you can go ahead and say whatever.
Cool. Well, Beautiful Waste, out now. Go listen to it if you haven't. We wrote this one with Andrew Goldstein, who was a collaborator on our last project. He did our song with Mark, Almost Famous. And he is someone that, if you don't know who Andrew Goldstein is, phenomenal writer and producer, has hits with a Z under his belt.
Hits.
And just known for a lot of Black Bear stuff, Lizzo stuff, 5 Seconds of Summer.
Katy Perry.
Tons of stuff.
All Time Low, Travis Barker, Jaden. He's just
MGK.
He just is a dude. He knows how to write a good fucking song.
Yes.
And he's also a phenomenal dude, and we love working with him. And so we got to, we had like 10 days off or something like that between the Jaden tour and the Blink tour, and we had a session booked with him. So we went in and wrote it, and we're like, oh, what? This is crazy. And he loves the song. He's like, guys, I don't say this often, but I'm pretty sure this is a hit. And he just was like, it was really cool and affirming for us to see how stoked he was about it, because he's like someone that we all look up to on a songwriting and production level. And to see him just be over the moon excited about the song, like he would text us every day for a week, just being like, dude, the song is unbelievable. I cannot stop listening to it. It was crazy. So
That's awesome.
really cool. So I think it kind of hyped us up a lot about this one. And yeah, it is a very different direction for us sonically. Like it's a pop song for sure. And it's like we play it like a punk band, and it's fun. We honestly just love listening to it. It like gives us joy.
It's like the happiest sounding song we've ever made, which is cool. It's like a feel-good moment in our set now.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
cool.
do think that this is going to be a fan favorite. One of the fan favorites.
I hope
For
so.
sure. I agree.
I hope so. Yeah, we're like kind of the point. I mean, for us, we want to have massive songs and just good songs. We don't have good, massive songs, you know?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I mean, who doesn't, you know? And I think we're just always trying to write the best songs possible. And so, yeah, it's fun. It's fun for us.
So working with someone like Andrew Goldstein, though, like, I mean, just like you did with Blink, you learned a lot from that tour, just seeing how they work. I mean, working with Andrew, I mean, he's basically a secret weapon in the scene. Well, secret weapon in the music industry, songwriting music industry. I imagine from a songwriting and song structure perspective, he's got to be a wealth of knowledge for you.
Oh, for sure. I think it's good. Like, we just love co-writing. We always try to bring in other people, even when we're writing things and doing it 100% ourselves. Even with it's just us, it is 3 of us all throwing ideas in. And I think we are all geniuses in our own right, you know what I mean? And I think we all value each other's opinions. And then it's fun to bring in other geniuses to also that we like are in love with. Like, it's amazing. It's so cool to do what we do, because it's like we literally just get to hear some of the coolest creative ideas in the world come out, you know?
And, I'll argue that that's why country music does so well and why they have some of the most catchiest songs out there. They have so many songwriters on so many songs. Most of the artists don't even write their songs. There's songwriters that are writing them for them. They might be sitting in, they might be co-writes and whatnot. But I would like to see the scene, or just artists in general, not necessarily like gatekeep themselves, like their own brand. Like, get out there and let other people help bring out the best in you too. So I think the best things are made sometimes when there's more people involved.
we really like bringing in writers that typically write in other genres than rock to just get like another inspo from them.
Yeah.
Like we love writing with Jesse St. John, who writes for like Kim Petras and has written for Britney, and
notably Truth Hurts by Lizzo.
he wrote that with Lizzo.
Okay, so big pop writer.
Big pop, dude.
Yeah.
He is an incredible human, incredible
I
writer.
also didn't know that first day we were writing. And I don't know who asked it. I think you were like, "What's the biggest song you wrote?" And he's like, "Truth Hurts" by Lizzo. And I was like, turn around the chair. I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? You wrote that song?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to." Did he win a Grammy for it?
Yeah.
Does that when you find that out, does that make you more comfortable or less comfortable?
I think at that point we've known each other for so long.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been trying to finesse that session for a long time. I was doing the whole Instagram interacting and then DMing, and then finally I was like, "You want to come over and write with us?" And he's like, "I love you guys. I would love to." And I was like, that's cool. And then he came over, and
Yeah.
we had like a few days with him and bonded, and it was honestly amazing.
Genuinely love him as a person. So cool, so sweet, and he comes from like the alt scene. Like that's what's fun for us too. Is a lot of these writers that like write pop stuff came from bands and like or like listen to bands and like. So for us, they're like this little like secret project they get to work on. They're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
And we
So
also
they really get it.
They get it, and it was just so fun. And we are like always like, we literally go into sessions like we want a Bieber song, we want like Bieber level song. You whip out an acoustic guitar and girls are freaking out, and we will
Right.
make it movie. You know what I mean? And like that's kind of like our vision a lot of the time. So it's fun for us to, because it's the challenge too. It's kind of like this fun like project we get to do versus like let's make a rock song. You know what I mean? We want to make a good song rock. You know?
Absolutely. Totally get it.
Is there anybody that you haven't had the chance to work with yet that you'd like to?
Skrillex.
So many. Yeah, we want Skrillex to like do an entire album with us.
Yeah.
Really? That would be wild.
Yeah.
He is so nasty.
Daddy Scrum. What's up, dog?
And I mean, but he's also that I think he would be the perfect match for us because he came from rock. Like,
Yes.
like he was there. He did it. I don't know if you guys listened to his last album, which is insane. So
I
worth it.
probably listened to a couple songs, but didn't dive in.
There's an interlude in the middle of the album, and I think it's Nardwar, I don't know, or some interviewer at Warped Tour interviewing him and Pete Wentz together
Oh yeah.
because they're like homies from back in the day.
Yeah.
They were on
Right.
Warped Tour, like shit like that. And it's just crazy to think like he was literally doing that. And then did Skrillex.
Yeah.
And then goes and says, cool, now after I do that, I'm gonna go produce Bieber's biggest hits and reignite his entire career.
And then he went back to Bristol last, dropped some bangers with them, and then like
Yep.
Yeah.
went back. To,
and now
Peaced
he's
out.
like, and then the whole thing now he's headlining Coachella
which was the great with Fortet and Fred again.
It's just like, dude.
that was the coolest experience. I getting to watch Blink at Coachella and then Skrillex with Fortet and Fred again was one of my favorite life experiences.
I would just also love to pick his brain creatively. Like, what do we do next? You know what I mean? Like, because there'll be a point where it's like, as we grow and grow and grow, like, okay, what's the next thing for us? And it's like something like that, which is so left field. You know what I mean? And it's like, he just like is always pushing the needle, you know, pushing the envelope
Yeah.
forward. It's really cool. So,
Absolutely.
sorry, I'm turning into like a
No,
Skrillex
it's good. No,
fan
we're
fair.
gonna share this.
Yeah.
We're gonna share this moment on Twitter or Threads or whatever it is that's gonna be popular here in a couple weeks. Skrillex, if you're listening, Beauty School Dropout needs you featured. They want to work with you. Let's make it happen.
Daddy Sonny.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, for the record, you probably know who Charlotte Sands is.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So she did the podcast, and she really wanted to work with Kellen Quinn. And so I joked with her. I was like, hey, I'll tweet this out so he can, maybe he'll see it. I didn't think he'd see it. I tweet it out, and I share like the clip or whatever of her saying that. Like moments later, he tweets back and says, I think I have the perfect song for this. And they ended up writing something. I can't remember what the song was, but they ended up working it out, and it happened. So
That's sick. There we
We
go.
have a small track record.
So
is what he's
we
trying
are.
to say.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we're one
Small
for one.
sample size, but it can happen.
About to be 2 for 2.
Let's get it.
All right, so
We also break up relationships too. So
yeah,
Oh,
because we
yeah.
had Mod Sun on, and then shortly after, him and Avril broke up. So, oh, and I also had not to name drop or anything, but we also had Dave Bax from Sum 41 on, and then Sum 41 ends up announcing their disbandment, and
so it could really go either way.
yeah,
We're either gonna work with Skrillex or break up. So
yeah,
Oh, there you go.
yeah. So
The odds are pretty-
well,
We only want
Good
the
luck.
good things to happen.
yeah, we can't help it if it goes the other way. But with these releases, you have Dying to Be You and you have Beautiful Waste. Are any of these going to be part of a bigger project? You guys working on an EP, working on an album?
Yes.
Can you let us know anything?
we're working on an album.
It's called Ready to Eat
That's right.
because we're ready to
Let's go.
And it drops later.
So it's going to be a full length?
It's going to be a short album.
Okay.
So whatever that means.
Okay.
They're like
Okay.
they're like mixtapes, but we call them albums for formality. But fact of the matter is, we're just gonna drop.
Short form projects until we feel like it's time to really.
Put the beans on.
Yeah, exactly. Put the beans.
Okay. So is this going to be something where you're just going to keep releasing single after single after single until it makes up a compilation of said album?
No, it'll be
This next one will probably be the last one, and then we'll do a focus track with the rest of the album.
Gotcha. Okay, so when do you think we could expect a new album? Keeping in mind this episode's going to come out around 8/2, 8/10, or whenever this new song drops.
Say Halloween time.
Okay.
Safe
a
bet.
spooky album.
Yeah.
We are guessing that is when Blink's album's going to drop. So maybe come out the week before or the week after, just to help you guys with the album sales and whatnot, right?
We have the benefit of figuring that out in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys got the ins on that. Okay, so that's good. So we have an album potentially coming in October. It sounds like you guys are totally open for collabs. I always have to ask, do you have any collabs in the works? Anything that we can expect on said album or upcoming singles?
Not on the album. Outside of the album, there's a few conversations. We do have a song that we worked on with our friend Kid Brunswick, who's a dope artist out of the UK. And that should be coming out soon, as well as potentially doing one with our boys in this group called Cult. And they're a Japanese group that fucking kills it. They're like very, how would you describe it?
Super sick.
Yeah, just incredible. It's like
Almost like more hyperpop Bring Me.
Yeah.
meets like Chase Atlantic a little
Yeah.
bit too.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And they're super dope, based in Japan. May have a song coming out with them as well. So
And it's CVLTE for the spelling of that.
Yeah. Check them out.
Got
They're
it.
so
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I've seen that name. I've
Yeah.
seen that name.
Super dope.
All right, so you guys got some collabs in the works, got an album on the way. You're on break from touring. You got a couple festivals lined
break.
up. You're going to
Yeah,
be...
we got Lollapalooza, we got Louder Than Life, Aftershock, and then a couple like one-off shows here and there. But it's looking like there's going to be some more touring in the fall. So nothing like that we can talk about yet, but
Sure.
it is being talked about. So
Right on. This
Yeah.
is...
get those pom-poms ready.
Okay.
Dropout Twerk is coming to town, baby.
All right.
All right.
Guys, I imagine things feel like they are happening really fast for you right now, and I truly think this is only the very beginnings of for you guys. You guys, without a doubt, are going to go on to do big things. I know you are. You keep proving it single after single, and I can't wait to hear what else you have coming out. Beautiful Waste will definitely become a fan favorite, like I said. But I think, this is a good place to kind of land this thing. So is there anything that you guys would like to add that maybe we didn't touch on?
If we're coming to a city near you, come.
Yeah.
Rage with us, because the show is our bread and butter, and we want to blow your minds.
Yep.
Stream
on.
Beautiful Waste.
Stream Beautiful Ways.
You guys will love it, guaranteed. So, guys, thanks a ton for stopping by and hanging out. We really do appreciate it. I truly think you guys have the potential to make a big mark in the alternative space. And, in fact, I know you will. You definitely will.
Yep.
I like the
Thank
Mark
you.
pun.
Yeah, I caught that too.
And that wasn't on purpose. Well, guys, I really do appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. So,
Thank you for having us. We
Likewise.
appreciate
Thank
taking
you
the
so
time.
much.
Yeah, it was lovely meeting you all. Wish you luck.
yep, we will definitely be seeing you if you come to the St. Louis area.
Hell yeah.
Ish area.
We can
Be
go
there, and we'll be
Indianapolis,
there.
Chicago.
Come
You'll
to
have to drive me to
Lollapalooza.
Chicago.
We're gonna be everywhere, don't you worry.
Oh yeah, that's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go to Lollapalooza. This would be a good excuse to go.
Yeah.
Well, look, we got
I've never
mini
been.
sets at Lolla.
Business right off.
We're doing
Wow.
we have 2 sets on Thursday. We're playing the Be My stage, and then we also play the Toyota stage, and then an after party.
I don't know, technically if we're allowed to talk about it yet.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about
Sure.
it?
Secret show.
Well, this thing doesn't air,
Okay.
for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it announced?
Oh,
Oh,
we
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
played it.
Oh, that's true.
but yeah. Anyways, long story short, the point is, well, I don't even know if this is because we're talking about it post Lolla. I don't even know where we are on this metaverse timeline here, but
Yeah.
It'll be in August when this drops.
And if not, we'll come to your city soon.
Okay, sounds good. If we end up at Lollapalooza, we'll come to your tent and say hello, and then we'll hang out after If
I
we
want to
can say
meet
that.
Juan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is Juan gonna be there?
Yes. I want
We'll
you.
be
I
there.
want you to meet Juan.
People need to know.
He's the people.
He's the star of BSD.
Literally,
Truly.
he's the queen.
If it rains, he can do some muddy splits.
Exactly.
Yes.
I want to play a show in the rain.
All right.
Even if
Thank
it
you,
doesn't
guys.
rain, he can do some muddy splits.
Oh, there you go.
Wait.
That catering will get you.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
that's
Peace.
so funny.
Thanks, guys.
Guys,
Thank you.